so much. Those introductions. Oh, of course, do those. Hang on. There we go.
Oh, thanks again, Karla Smith, for joining us this morning or this afternoon for the Lunch and Learn session. We're excited to learn about the strategies you're going to teach us to infuse optimism into our everyday life. So go ahead, Karla, kick it off.
Thank you so much. So I just want to say what a pleasure it is to be here and to be with all of you. And thank you for taking this time for yourself, really, to learn a little bit more about optimism. You all look very optimistic. So we're probably going to be teaching each other a bunch of things, which is wonderful. I'm a personal transformation coach, and I show people how they can love themselves deeply in order to live a life of their own creation. I love this work so much. I've been a coach for the past 10 years plus now. And I came to all of this work really from my darkest place, as so many of us who are in the service of helping other people, often that is our journey. So I really started from this place where I was in despair, and I came from a family that was very dysfunctional. I grew up to become an people pleaser extraordinaire, right? To the point of really damaging my own self-worth, my own, the way that I showed up, everything. I spent my life really staying small and secure in this little tiny space, didn't take up space ever. And that led to, some really hard life decisions, including, a divorce, including really having to reevaluate my whole life, and leading to depression. And then on the other side of that, a lot of really good work that I did, and that's led me to here. So I'm excited to share optimism with you. That's where it was birthed, in that place, at the beginning of my journey. And I will say personally, I've recently, so in 2019, I married the new love of my life, and we have 7 kids between us, which is like, I always do this for myself because I have 7 kids. So 4 are my originals and 3 are my beautiful stepkids. So I really live a joyful, fulfilled life. I love what I do. Is that, can everyone else hear? Yeah, thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. So I just, where was I? I don't remember. Anyway, so that's just a little bit about me. And I wanted to just talk today about optimism. Oh, just before I start, so I know lots of you already know, we'll use the reactions. This is going to be interactive. So I want you to really feel comfortable participating, putting your hand up, asking questions. I love this idea of us being, learning together, right? This is not just me talking. I will do that if no one puts their hand up, but I'm hopeful that you will. So I want to just share that optimism for me is a very simple definition. It's really about permanently and generally knowing our life is a blessing, and temporarily and specifically knowing we face challenge. So this is really a lens or a perspective that we get to live through, right? It's not saying that life is always great, or, I'm always positive. It's just understanding that, generally speaking, our life is a blessing. Things are what we want, and like how we want to show up is how we are. And then this temporary and specific piece is really about, I recognize that I will face challenges. I know there are going to be obstacles and roadblocks in my way, and I'm going to, look at them from not linking them all together so that it becomes the narrative of my life, right? So that's really that's kind of where I'm coming from today. As I mentioned, also not all of us are optimistic from birth, right? So there are people who are super optimistic probably all the time. But what's amazing about optimism, along with so many of the practices we're going to talk about, is that we can cultivate them. And so then they can grow and grow and grow. And the more conscious we are of wanting to grow that, the more self-aware we are, the easier it is for this to become like our conscious lens that we choose, right? So as I mentioned at the top, my optimism grew out of my darkest days, out of the place where I really struggled, because it was where I realized that I had choice. So I realized that I had choice to be pessimistic, optimistic, to live, to die, to be married, to not be married, right? To stay as a victim to a whole bunch of things that had happened to me, or learn to survive. So this choice piece became such a huge part of my growth. And in that was this idea that I could choose hopefulness, right? I could choose to be hopeful every single day. So for me, I was really motivated to shift, right? Because I needed to change my operating system. I was not operating in a place where I felt fulfilled. I was very, very unhappy in my life. And it was essential for me because I kind of reached rock bottom, which is not everyone's journey. You don't have to reach rock bottom in order to cultivate optimism, thank goodness, right? But I needed to learn to love myself deeply, like in a really, not that surface way, but in a really deep way, which meant I had to unearth a lot of the things that were in my way, right? And as I started loving myself more practices came into my awareness, really. And so I'm going to share 4 of those with you today so that we can, just see how optimism is this way of looking at life, and the actions we're going to take are, different like practices that we can put in place. From a business perspective, optimism is awesome because it's a predictor of success, good grades or work. It's a predictor of having less stress in your life, being physically healthy, living a longer life, having more joy and happiness in your life. So that's not surprising. Obviously, the more hopeful we are, it makes sense that all those things would take place. And as we shift away from those pessimistic things like perfection, catastrophe thinking, looking at things from the downside or the worst case scenario, which all lead us to feel really stuck in our life or in decision making or in relationships. Optimists, generally speaking, are well-rounded, hopeful, they get things done, they're more self-confident, more positive. They maintain balance in their life a little bit better, and they're more productive. So you can see that from our like work perspective and personal perspective, it's such a great thing to start putting and activating and cultivating it at the biggest level possible. So I thought we would start with a little quiz. Does everyone have paper and pencil there? Yeah. Okay. So this is testing your optimism a little bit. These questions are really just to think about, and I'm happy to share any of the resources that we use today later on. So don't worry about like writing down the questions or whatever. I can always share that with you later. So I want you to just sort of, on the scale of strongly agree to strongly disagree, strongly disagree to strongly agree. So strongly disagree, disagree, agree, strongly agree, right? So you're giving yourself basically 1 of 4. 1 to 4, right? So in uncertain times, I usually expect the best. Strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree. In uncertain times, I usually expect the best. Question number 2, if something can go right for me, it will. If something can go right for me, it will. Strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree. Next question is, I'm always optimistic about my future. Strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree. I always expect things to go my way. I always expect things to go my way. 2 more. I always count on good things happening to me. Strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree. And the last question, overall, I expect more good things to happen to me than bad. Strongly agree, strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree. All right. And so you can, I'm not going to like score it. What I want you to just feel is all of those questions are like obviously at the highest end of optimism, right? And so I just want you to think about where you were in disagreement with them. If you had lots of disagreement, then there's lots of opportunity for optimism to be cultivated. If you had lots of agree and strongly agree, you're likely in a place where optimism is part of your daily life already, right? If it's in between, there's room for growth, right? So, I mean, there's always room for growth, but that's really how that's going to help you to navigate your own optimism. How many people, does anyone want to share how that felt? Does anyone, go ahead. Yep. You can just put your hand up too if it's easier. Go ahead, Christine.
Okay, so I was just going to say everything today was an agree, but I would say I'm more like the agree to strongly agree side of things.
Right.
But I like what you said at the very beginning where you said optimism can be learned.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a 12-year-old who's got a lot of learning to do.
Fair.
I'm glad you said that because it gives me hope that I can actually
teach him. Love that. Thank you. And I love that piece around also being mentors to people. If we have strong optimism, what a beautiful gift we can give to the world by sharing that optimism and allowing people to see that as a possibility for themselves, right? Yeah, love that. Thank you. Go ahead, Laurel.
I think of myself as an optimist, but I was surprised to somewhat disagree with a few questions. Mm-hmm. Now, the problem I had mostly was the always.
Right.
So not always, but not always. Maybe the majority of time I would agree, but not always. So and also the uncertain question kind of threw me for a loop too, because when things are uncertain, I'm not as optimistic as I think I am.
It's such a, absolutely. I love that. And I think that's so important because it is in those, it's in the temporary and specific places, right? When things are not necessarily, we're not sure about things where our optimism can like get buried by worry and stress and, different kinds of thinking that's not helpful to us. And so as we train ourselves in that, that's where then, especially when we're not in those situations, then when we are, it's easier to use, right? We have this foundation for it. Love that. Thank you so much, Laurel. Go ahead, Catherine.
I was a lot of agree and strongly agree, but a little bit like Laurel Ann. Some of these instances are more like, well, maybe not always, but I know I'm going to roll with the punches and I'm going to make do and I'm going to, make the best out of it. Try not to take things personally. Look at them as a challenge to grow. So yeah, I think I'm a glass half full kind of gal.
That's awesome. Right. Yeah. And I love that the thing about all of these kinds of quizzes and questionnaires is that we take them with a grain of salt. It's not, if you can say mostly to yourself, say mostly. Like, I'm sharing this quiz, but really if you can say to yourself, yeah, that's mostly, and that's what I mean by agree, then that's great, right? So just don't judge. That's a huge thing. Don't judge yourself by your own answer, right? Don't get caught in like, well, I can't say always, right? So thank you guys for sharing your answers. I just want to say, so I'm a one tasker. I've like let go of multitasking. So if you're writing in the chat, that's cool for each other to have a conversation. If I pay attention to that, then I won't focus here. So know that if you want to share something with me, absolutely just raise your hand or right. Go ahead, Kathy.
Sorry. I just shared in the chat that I think a lot of what you're talking about too with optimism is having faith and having trust in the universe and, believing that things I think your last question was about believing that things will always work out. So I think faith in whatever, taking the religion out of it is really what we're talking about too. With
absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And and you can take the religion out or leave the religion in, but spiritual well-being is a huge part of this growth, right? So I love that. So I feel like well-being for as humans, we, our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being is what gives us inner peace and is how we function in the world, and our connection to something bigger is so powerful and optimistic, because then we have hope, right? For sure. Okay, so the first practice we're going to talk about is minding your thoughts. I love this. It's, a lot of my work at the beginning stages of what I do with people is unearth those constant negative ruminating thoughts that are activated unconsciously in the midst of us taking risk, doing big things, shining, showing up, all of those things. What are the things that we say to ourselves, right? Trying something new, getting a new practice in place, right? Then all of a sudden, this little gremlin comes in play and says, I'm too fat, I'm too old, I'm undisciplined, I'm not enough, things don't work out for me, blah, blah, blah. Like, they are so mean, right? Our inner critic voice is really cruel, and it's also unconscious. So when we mind our thoughts, when we start to really decide that we're going to take care of what we're playing in our head, absolutely, it helps us to feel more hopeful about the world, because we feel better about ourselves, right? So we're going to work today on cleaning up some of that inner critic thought, right? By being our biggest cheerleader, right? Right now. So one of the things that I love as an exercise is really focusing on our natural gifts and talents, right? What are we spectacular at? What makes us unique? What makes us special? What makes us a great friend? What makes us, a brilliant person to connect with, to hire, whatever, right? And we, especially as women, tend to dampen that a little bit so that we are not showing off, not looking like we're too aggressive, not looking like we're, boastful, because those are not things that are societally recognized as feminine, but in fact are rock star gifts, right? So we want to just, and I feel like you guys are all rock stars already. So like I'm preaching to the choir here, but that's okay, because this is how we all then integrate this stuff even more in our beings, right? By just going, yep, that validates my already thinking place, right? So I want you to write down this, like, your greatest gifts. So I am, and then write 3 things, whatever. It can be like something emotional, like I am really compassionate. It can be something that you do, like I'm a great listener. It can be also something that you're really skilled at, like I'm amazing at math. Okay, so whatever it can be 3 of those, whatever you want. Okay, so take a second to do that. Has everyone got a couple? Okay. So I've done this 2 ways. You guys can decide. We'll just you can just show your hand. So we can either all mute and you can just say them out loud, because when we say things out loud, it gives them energy, right? When we keep them in our heads, it starts to ruminate, and then our inner critic gets into the messaging, and we don't shine as brightly as we can. So we can do that if you guys are a shy group, or we can go around and everyone can say one thing, and everyone can say it out loud to the whole group. So those in favor of just saying it quiet, like on mute, just, that's cool. Either is fine. So which one would you prefer? Or the other way? Everyone share? Yeah? Okay. You don't have to share, of course. It's up to you. But if you unmic, I'll call on you. If you don't unmic, I won't call on you. How's that? Okay. Judy, are you ready? Go ahead. Can you share your list? Oh, you are? Yeah, because you're unmuted. I don't know if you did it on purpose. Go. You don't have to if you don't want to. Go ahead. No. Okay, Catherine, you unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm creative. I have a lot of empathy, and I'm compassionate.
Excellent. And now I want everyone, we're just going to take a minute to like really feel her list. Awesome. Right? Good. Laurel, go ahead.
I'm great at teaching, art, and math.
Excellent. Everyone, I'm serious. We're doing this. Okay, Kathy, go ahead.
I'm intuitive. I'm a problem solver, and I'm fun.
Woohoo! Excellent. Marianne?
I am playful. I am a great holder of space, and I am loving.
Amazing. Yes. Susan?
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I am a heart-led leader, a speaker, and I'm kind.
Amazing. Yes, everyone. Judy, would you like to share?
Sure. I'm a great friend. I'm also kind, and I'm also a good writer.
Beautiful. Yes. And Christine, go ahead.
Yes, so I put positive, connector, collaborative, helpful, inspired, inspiring, and creative.
Amazing. Yes. Okay, everyone, that's awesome. And what I love about this, I know this seems silly, and silly is great because it gets us into our joy, but I want you to just feel that celebration, that you all smiled for each other, that you smiled for yourself when that happened, right? That's hope and optimism at work, right here in this call, right? So the more you talk about how great you are, the easier it is, and celebrate like that, because that's like your inner critic is like going, what is happening here, right? Right? So you're like totally changing the wiring in your head when you do those two things, saying things out loud that you're a rock star at, and then also celebrating those things, right? So keep that up, do it with your family, friends, whatever, right? That's exactly, I love that idea. Do it at dinner with your family and cheer them on, or you can clap or whatever. I like the clapping is loud. So I like doing this is sort of my celebration always. Okay, number 2, the second key self-loving practice is focusing on what you want. Focus on what you want. Okay, so this is obviously rather than what you don't want, right? So here's 2 scenarios. Oh my God, I have so much debt. I just want to stop having debt in my life. I'm so sick of having debt, right? I don't want debt. I'm tired of having debt. Debt, right? And then that versus, I am ready to attract enough money to pay all my bills. I want my bank account to have a ton of zeros in it, like a number and zeros. I'm ready to attract a 6-figure income. I am working toward paying off all my bills. Exact same problem. The exact same problem, just wired in a different way, right? What you focus on expands. If you talk about debt all the time, you're going to have more debt. You're inviting more debt into your life. If you're going to talk about attracting money, making money, enjoying money, paying your bills, you're going to attract that, because that becomes the way you see the world, right? You have a new perspective. You're using that lens, right? This hopeful lens, this lens that lends itself to bringing stuff in instead of just seeing all the negative stuff, right? That's probably not surprising to anyone, but it's always good to be reminded of it, right? So if we're always talking about what we don't want or don't have, that's what we're going to have more of, right? And then a great way to expand what you want is through visualization, right? So and visualization, vision boards, any of these kind of activities that get you thinking about what you want and deserve. We spend so little time creating the vision for a life that we want, right? We spend time thinking about now and worrying about what's coming and kind of fretting about what happened before. But we spend so little time imagining. We're creative people, right? Imagining how big our world could be, right? And so I'm going to take you through this activity that I do with clients. So I want you you can close your eyes and then you're going to just write down whatever. So I want you to imagine that you're at the foot of a bridge, right? And that bridge, you're going to be able to walk over. And then on the other side of that bridge is everything you've ever wanted, what you deserve in your life, the life of your own creation. And if you don't have to do anything to get to the other side, there's no work, there's nothing holding you back, there's no distractions, obstacles, or roadblocks. What does that life feel like right now? What are you doing? Who's with you? What beautiful material things have you invited into your life? And how do you look? How are you acting? So take a minute to just kind of feel that. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and just jot down a few things. Awesome. About 30 more seconds. You can come back to it for sure. All right. So what I love about this activity is that it gives you permission to see the biggest, boldest version of yourself, wherever you decide, whether it's in 6 months, a year, 10 years from now, right? Gives you permission not to worry about all the things, because I literally took the worry away from it, the scenario, right? So does anyone want to share their vision? This is a little more. Yes? Laurel, go ahead.
So as I walk, oddly, you chose a bridge because I just sold a bridge painting.
Oh, I should have bought your bridge painting. Go ahead.
As I walk across that bridge, I see a sunny place with happy friends. I'm in the one-of-a-kind Christmas show. I am getting awards, and I'm a master watercolor artist. And I'm wearing the green sequin dress that I wore in a photo shoot recently.
That's amazing. I love all of those little details that are like these bright spots that like totally light you up. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing, Laurel. That's awesome. Christine, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I did. I the bridge was cool. And before I got to the bridge though, there was a moat around it that I had to crawl out of. I feel like for the last year, and I don't know if it's COVID or what, that I'm in the muck and I'm stuck there. And I'm doing too much work, and I need time to be this visionary, to be this leader. So crossing the bridge is me bringing on my team. It's bringing on people that do the work and love the work that they do to help us help other people. And it's just effortless and carefree. And it includes time to have dinner and to not work at night when my family is around. And yeah, it's just really flowing and I can breathe.
Love it. I love that you've given yourself time to have that vision, even though you feel like you're stuck in the muck. So it's so powerful to give yourself permission, right? I'm in the muck right now. The weeds are deep, and I am still giving myself permission to dream, because when we dream, we believe, right? We can believe in something different than where we are. So really so powerful. And thank you for sharing the moat first, because it's helpful for us all to know we're not alone in the muck, right? Of course, we're in the muck some of the time, right? And so, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else want to share?
Sure.
Go ahead, Kathy, go. Oh, Kathy and then Catherine. How's that?
Sure.
You both said sure at the same time.
It's interesting because I've had a vision of my house for a long time. So I've actually I have very clear, like the driveway, the landscaping, the number of rooms, what each room has in it. So I've done a visualization where I'm very detailed on on what I want, like the pool and even like a library and very, you know, how many bedrooms and all of that. So that was very comfortable for me, but I'm also working on manifesting a storefront. So that I was seeing, but this time I was more able to relate to the working with people and the sense of community, and less on what's inside but more on the feeling of what that store would look like, and having these people around that were helping me and supporting me and working with me and bringing that joy to that place. So
that's amazing. Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I think what's so powerful about what you're sharing is the feeling piece. So yeah, it's great to see the stuff, right? Because stuff is really important to us too. It's kind of how we mark our way, right? But the feelings is what's going to embody, right? Like that's where we're going to feel it in our bodies. And so then that's what's going to help us to propel us forward in our actions. So I love that piece around feeling. Keep writing on that. Catherine, go ahead.
So every day I have this little mantra that I say to myself. And like you say, it's all about feeling. So when I say it, I'm just like bursting in. So when I cross that bridge, which is kind of funny because I feel that I'm at a very important crossroad in my life, and it's going to happen in the next few months. But across that bridge is financially successful, doing what I love. I'm in peace because right now I have anxiety. So I'm in peace, happy and healthy. And I see myself traveling. I've embraced the minimalist lifestyle. So I don't see a lot of things, but the things I have are either useful or beautiful. So I'm just surrounded by beauty, no extra things to manage, just the minimal, but like less baggage. I feel light.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it so much. Beautiful. Thank you guys. And if you want to share with me later, you can either write them to me or I can stay on, but I'm minding the time because I know that I want to be respectful of people's time. So thank you for your bridge stories. They're amazing. Number 3 is be as kind to yourself as you are to your best friend. Be as kind to yourself as you are to your best friend. Self-compassion matters. It is crucial, in fact, right? For cultivating optimism. We have to believe we're deserving of our own kindness. And so often we give kindness like this. We give it to everybody and we are depleted because we don't give it to ourselves first. You are your number one priority because so this just goes back to all the examples you've ever, right? Yeah, exactly. It goes back to that idea when you're sitting on a plane and they show you that you need to put your mask on first to take care of everyone else. That's not like you're going, yeah, I'm going to take all the oxygen. I'm just going to sit back here and suck it all back and let everyone else die. Of course not. That's not who you are. You're an incredibly giving person. But if you don't put your mask on first, everyone you love is dead. That's the truth on a plane. So that's the truth in your life. Give it to yourself first so that you have it to give to everyone else. You have the skills, you have the energy, you have all of the things that you need to support all the people that you have been supporting all along. So it's just like this little tiny roll, like it's almost like you gotta like roll back and just say, okay, I'm not putting myself first. How can I put myself in here first? How can I have compassion for me? How do I get to be the kindest person in my life, right? Like the person I'm most kind to. So this shows up in a few ways. I said when you guys were in your rooms and I was talking to Christine, one of the things that I've been saying throughout COVID and especially in the last few months, because all of us who are in the service business, we have been giving and giving and giving through COVID because we are taking care of a huge community of people. Probably all of you are in that boat or you feel it, whether it's your family or a community that's part of your business. And we are depleted, right? Because we've been giving to make sure everyone else is shored up because that's our job, right? You know, I have helped so many people and I'm really grateful that I have this life to be able to help people. But I also took August off because I need to take care of myself. All of August, the whole month I took off, right? And that's big for us in business, especially as entrepreneurs, to take that much time off. But rest, I'm going to say it again, rest is revolutionary. It is absolutely revolutionary. It is so imperative. We need to rest. We need to relax. We need to have self-care, non-negotiable, right? So if that is not part of your daily routine, I implore you to bring it in, because when you feel like you're energized, rejuvenated, relaxed, rested, you have the energy to give to the world, right? You have the energy to be as hopeful as you want and to help other people have hope, right? Okay, so that's just key. So I want you to, for yourself at the end of the call, what is your self-care plan for tonight, for this afternoon, right? This afternoon, not tomorrow, not the next day, this afternoon. And the last is my most favorite and really the most transformative practice that I believe we can have in our toolbox, and that's gratitude. I talk about it a lot. If you are part of my world, you've heard it. You heard it earlier this afternoon. Gratitude makes us hopeful and believe that our life is good all around us, right? That life is good, that we are living in a blessing, right? Really, gratitude is the expression of the blessings that we have, right? And I use gratitude when I feel absolute success, and I use gratitude when I'm really feeling low, right? It is important to use it at all, like to have gratitude woven through your life, no matter what the circumstances is. Because I think, you know, being thankful for stuff or having manners, that's external, right? Thank you. I'm so happy that I went on this trip. I'm grateful that I got to go here, whatever. Of course, we are thankful for things, but knowing that life is a blessing and really not taking anything for granted from this internal place, from this place within our heart, where our heart operates from this place, is magical, right? It changes us. So I try and find the blessings in the crappy stuff too, right? Who's helped me? What are the circumstances that are never going to happen again? What lessons have I learned? You know, what's happening that's not as bad as it could be, right? What are the things that I can actually find, the little, even just glimmers of hope, right? So I use gratitude. Yeah. So it really helps us. So there's so many benefits to gratitude, right? It helps us to create, oh, I'm right at the end of our time. Sorry. Is it okay if I just go for a few more minutes? Yeah. So it helps us to create healthy life habits. It boosts our happiness and peace of mind. It increases resilience and empathy. It reaches our goals. It helps us to reach our goals more successfully. We sleep better when we are grateful. That's amazing to me always. We have stronger relationships, obviously, because we're grateful for them, right? And it improves our self-confidence and our self-worth. So we were going to do gratitude statements. It's one of the practices that I use all the time, is to create a gratitude statement. I am grateful for, and then you just write down anything, right? It can be trivial, it can be deep, it can be about, you know, your circumstances, it can be anything. And so how many people have a gratitude practice right now? Just great, amazing. Okay, so, and probably you all know what a gratitude practice is. You're around people all the time who are talking about this. And so it's really about just kind of committing and deciding, yay, thank you. It's about deciding that you're ready to commit to this kind of practice, right? And so I just want you to consider writing it down for a week. If you don't have one, do it for a week and see how it feels. I'm pretty sure it's going to be different. I also have some gratitude reflection questions. If you're interested, I put my email in the chat. So if you save the chat, you'll have everyone's email. And so then you can just reach out to me, and I will definitely send you some questions so you can reflect on gratitude a little bit more. And just in conclusion, because I want to be just mindful, optimism has changed my life trajectory 100%, right? I really went from living this unconscious and unhappy life to seeing the world through my rose-colored glasses, and it has led me to where I am today. I'm a successful global personal transformation coach. I could not have imagined saying those words before, right? It's like completely incredible to me. I'm happily married. You know, I have a great set of friends. I have a great community that I'm building. I live joyfully and fulfilled. And this is not because I'm some special person. I am special, but I'm not more special, right? I'm equally special to every other person. It's because I'm committed to the work, right? And so I encourage you to take any of the things we've done today, and if you're doing them, to elevate them a little bit, and if you're not doing them, to add them in. And really, that's it. Thank you, guys. It was great to speak with you and share what it is that you guys are doing, and thank you for sharing with me.
That was great. Thank you so much. And for me, I'd like, if you can stick around for another minute, I'd like you just to go around and share like maybe it wasn't an aha moment, but it was the reminder you got today. It was like, oh yeah, I've got to do that. For me, it was the gratitude practice. I've fallen out of that. Mm-hmm. And I am a very grateful person. I was just saying to someone the other day, like, I love my life. Shit happens, but I still love it. But I need to do more of that. So I'm going to get back to that whole bedtime, writing down 3 things. But yeah, if you can stick around for another minute, if you can just share something from Karla's 4 practices that stuck out today.
I like going over the bridge, and I need to go over that bridge more often rather than being stuck in the muck.
I love it. That's great. Thank you.
I would say the same, Karla. I love the bridge analogy where you can envision how you're going to feel in particular and what those feelings feel like, because then you're, regardless of the circumstances and what else comes for you, you're more open to that because that's the vibe that you want. So I love that. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan. Love it.
I like the be kind to yourself as you are to your friends, because I think we forget sometimes that we do for our friends something that maybe we would never ask. So we have to be mindful of how much of ourselves we give. I like there's an analogy of being a gallon in a pint. If somebody asks you for a gallon, you're only a pint, you can't possibly fulfill what they want. So you have to take care of your little pint.
Love it. Exactly. Yeah. Grow to a gallon so that you can give a gallon. Love it. Thank you.
And for me, is Karla talking? For me, I'm going to agree with Christine. I did have a gratitude practice, but have not been doing that regularly recently. So I'm thankful for the reminder to put that on things to do. And I actually think that I'm going to do it in the mornings because that just works better for me. So beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think for me, I love rest is revolutionary because I do feel like I'm go, go, go all the time. And I don't stop to just relax and rest. Like I really, I mean, I know I should, but I don't. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I hear
incorporate that into my daily routine where I've got to just pause, reset, turn everything off, whatever it takes.
Yeah. Put your feet up, have a cup of tea, whatever feels good. I love it. Thanks, Judy.
Yeah, for me, ladies, it's just been a lovely way. Like, I read this stuff or I've watched videos about it, but to get together in person with people who are living this, and Karla, you're such a good example of that just helps make it real for me. And I'm really grateful to know this community.
Thank you. Yeah, so good.
I think Carlin came on and then disappeared. I'm not sure if she's able to share because I think she had to go back to work. Let's see. Okay. Oh, yeah, there she is.
I'm here. It's just cleaning away. No, I really enjoyed the whole presentation, but the bridge part really did. It gives you a visual, right? So that you can actually visual. It's not just thinking, you're seeing things, right? So you got to put it in different perspectives for different people. So I really appreciated that. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. Thanks, ladies. It was so wonderful to be with you.
picture real quick before we sign off? Sure. I'm not sure. Okay.
Oh, with my mask on?
Sure. There you go. All right. 1, 2, 3, smile. Awesome. That was really great. Thank you so much. I feel high vibe right now, but funny enough, I also feel like it's okay if I go lay down on the couch right now.
Take a nap.
Yeah, that's what all of us will go do now.
Not me. I still got to work.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Dang.
After.
You guys enjoy.
Great, thank you. Now, Karla, I sent out a reminder today that had your contact information in it. When I send out the replay, I'll also include your contact information.
Thank you so much.
And, I'll make sure if it's not there to get your email address so that people can follow up with you.
Yeah, sure.
Gratitude questions.
So I have gratitude questions that I can share. I have an exploratory session if you're interested in just having a chat about any of this stuff. So I can absolutely just hook you up if you reach out to me.
Perfect. Now, if you have a link for that,
I do,
maybe you can send it
to you.
Text, and I'll include it when I send the replay out, ladies.
Okay, that's great.
It was so nice getting to hear from you and having some time with all of you gals. I hope you have a really super fantastic day.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Take good care. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Pleasure. It was wonderful.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.